What a beautiful day, I guess. Let me get rid of this. Alright everyone, the Panda Photographer here, doing a living from the iPhone using a new app called the Switcher Go. So I'm not sponsored by Switcher Go, but this is my first time using the app. So I really want to use the app to see how well it does in 720p. That's the highest quality it would go. If I wish to use the YouTube's app instead, it would go in 1080p at some points, but right now I am using the Switcher Go app and it's doing pretty good. I'm seeing myself live stream at the moment, so I can actually talk with you guys as I talk about this particular topic today about the Seminole 18-35. It's been almost 6 years since this lens has came out and my thoughts on it. But if you guys are interested in subscribing to this channel, please do that and hit the notification button and follow me on the social media links down in the descriptions below, but also hit that PayPal donation button, shows some support. But I really want to talk about this lens. And when Sigma in 2013 of April announced they were coming out with this lens, I was not aware at the time into August of 2013, and I found out that they actually made a A-mount lens for it, which is really good. Now I really want to talk about for APS-C because a lot of people are, let me just pop up this chat here so I can see the chat. Okay, thank you. 720 is good enough. Thank you for that. But I really want to talk about this lens. It's almost 6 years since it's been released, and I really wanted to know, does it stand up to its reputation? Its reputation is based on the focal lengths that you get from one particular lens. Now think about it. This lens costs $7.99 in the US, about 850 euros back in Europe. And would you want to spend, say, for a prime lens, 18 for a crop sensor? By the way, this is for the crop sensor. You're not going to find any lens like this on the market that is actually zoom, a really fast, ultra fast zoom lens like this. But if you was to go out and buy lenses 18, you're going to spend about between $400 and $700 or $400 and $1,100 for just an 18 alone. Then a 20, then a 24, then a 28, then a 30, then a 35. How much would you think that will cost you in the long term when you can just buy one simple lens at an aperture? I mind you that f1.8. It's a really versatile lens, really good. Now I have done portraits with this, keep in mind, but in Lightroom I did fix the structure of the face. I did try this on a full frame at 35, shooting in Super 35, which worked fine at Super 35 and even at 28. But I even shot photos with it in full frame until I hit 28 mil, which is the focal length on this lens. Now I had this lens about 4 years now, and almost 4 years going on, and I have to say this is probably one of the best monies that I can buy, the best lens money can buy. I'm sorry. Not only is that, it's a pretty healthy lens, don't get me wrong. It's very healthy. It's very built pretty well. Yes, it doesn't come with weather sealant, or it's not weather sealed, but as I said in previous videos, I have done reviews for this lens before. I have done 5 videos on this particular lens expressing my concerns. I did a 30 days. First I did unboxing, then like a 7 day, 14 days, then I did like 30, then I did 60, then I did 1 year, then I did a 3 year. So that's 6 videos all into total. And my impressions on this lens is basically still magnificent, very remarkable lens for what it can do. Now, for you videographers out there that are really want to find a lens that is versatile, listen up. You have popular filmmakers using this lens. You have popular YouTubers like MBKHD, Marcus Brownie, using this on an Epic Red. Literally all the time he's using this on Epic Red, half of the time. Not most of the time, but half of the time. I noticed it watching his content, and he also recommends this lens. I recommended this lens for a number of reasons, because it is doing such a fantastic job by demonstrating that what it can do. Now I'm looking at this footage here, and I can tell the quality is not good. Hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure that you guys can see me in good quality. Okay, you can. Great. Now, I am going to emphasize something that I've posted in the thumbnail. Is this a prime lens for APS-C? And I'm going to say it is a prime lens for APS-C. And let me explain why. Because as I said in the beginning of this video, you have to literally spend between $500 and $1,100 for just one focal length, when you have 18, 20, 24, 28, 30, and 35. That is 6 focal lengths and 1 lens. Not only that, aperture is f1.8. Very remarkable tool. For video makers out there, this is going to be one of the lenses that you will use from time to time. You may want to use just a fixed focal length prime lens at some point, but when you're using APS-C, and let me explain about APS-C, and a lot of people are using APS-C more now than ever before, and I'm gonna get to that little series. But when you're using the A6500 with the MC11 adapter, okay, my recommendation is, when you buy this lens, buy one of these. This is the Sigma dock. This can fix some of the focus issues that you might have. You might have it, you might not. I just didn't use it for focus issues. I used it for calibrating the lens to adjust it to be a micro lens. Now, it's not a true 1:1 micro lens. It's like maybe like 1:2, 1:3 ratio micro lens, but it came close, and I have a video about that on this channel, how I did it. Took me 2 days to do it, but the results were incredible. But this does a lot of things that you might want to consider. This gives you access to a software when you can calibrate the lens. Now, yes, there's adjustment calibrations inside the camera body. That is different. That is basically helping you on inside the camera. That adjustment feature is basically only for making sure that your images are top sharp. This really fixes the focus and issues to the lens. So there's a difference between just micro adjustment and focus adjustment. This helps with the focus adjustment. Alright, so you have to understand the difference. And I'm seeing a lot of videos, and a lot of people are mistaking this as a device to help you have sharper images. Yes, it does for focusing, but it doesn't fix the sharpening issue in your images. So keep that in mind. But this is only $60. And this can really do some justice. It can help you understand how to calibrate lenses as well if you buy more Sigma art lenses. Now, say if you have a Canon, or you have a Nikon, or you have Pentax or Panasonic, this little device can help you. Yes, the software is very challenging, very geeky, but once you understand it, it's like piece of cake, butter on bread. Alright? But this lens, I will have to say, without the weather sealing and the constructions, I took it outside in the weather, and this is my true experience with it in the last almost 4 years using this lens. I took it out in the weather, I dropped it twice, and I don't mean just like little drops. I mean I dropped it from a distance, and I really don't have any cosmetic wear other than like natural wear and tear, which is like you can see like the focal length focus here has been used. You can see a little, not run down, but you can see some wear, but it's still in great condition, perfect condition really, and like not perfect but close to perfect. But where's that little damage? Right there, you can't even see it when I dropped it. This thing is built like a tank. This thing is really an incredible lens. It's really one of these lenses that you have to get it, even if you don't want to use it all the time. You just have to get it. Now I want to talk about a few of my photography categories when using this lens. And I'm not trying to sell you the lens, and I'm not trying to recommend the lens. It's been since 2013 since this lens came out, and people are still using it to this day. People are still using it and still referring to use it for their videography work, their photography, their landscapes, their astrophotography, even some portraits at 35mm. Now, I don't really recommend doing 24mm in portraits. Kind of gets the face a little bit distorted. You can fix it in post, but if you like that artistic way of photography, that's all on you. You can do it. It's really sharp, really open-minded, but there is some bad things about this lens. I'm going to have to say is that the weather sealant is not even a bad thing to me, because this is 2013. Not many lenses had weather sealant for the price, and for the price for this, $800 US, which is about 850 euros. This was a steal. It's still a steal today. It's still a bargain, because you would end up spending about $3,000 on fixed prime lenses, fixed focal length prime lenses, 18, 20, 24, when you can just buy one lens. And this, if you are starting up as a photographer, you're just beginning and you're looking for a option, you're looking for a way to buy one lens to save you money, and you know you want a 24 but you want a 35, but no, I want an 18 so I can get that long exposures or wide angle shots, but I only have $800 and I just need to buy one lens. This is the lens for you guys. If you're a beginner and you're looking for a lens, this is the lens. Aperture 1.8. If you're intermediate and advanced user and you're doing fusion, you're doing photography and video, this is the lens as well. If you're a professional, you might want to pull this out as well, but it's based on what you need it for and what your preferences are. And yes, they do sell it for Canon, Nikon, Panasonic, and Pentax. Apparently, I think they discontinued the Sony A mount making this, but you can still find them somewhere online. You can find them a couple places online, because they still have them in circulation in warehouses or distributors or whatnot. But this lens is going to help you understand how to, what I'm trying to say is, it's going to help you understand how to capture photos at f1.8. If you never had an f1.8 lens, you're going to see the big difference. And then when you step into like a lens that has a 2.8 or a 3.5, you're going to be like, oh, I missed this lens. That 1.8 did so much justice. Big difference. Open up the stops. Now, there is some cherubic aberrations, okay, at 1.8, okay. There is some, but you have to really like look into it one-to-one to order to see it. You can fix it in post, right? And there is some distortion, and there's some vignetting in the corners, just a little bit. But as I said, you can fix it in post, easy. But I am going to talk about diffraction. When you stop it down to about f13, I started to notice this may be different from you based on the camera model that you have. You might not have the same camera I have. You might have a Canon, you might have the Nikon, but in my Sony a77 Mark II, I noticed some diffraction at f13 and f16. And diffraction is where it starts to, diffraction kicks in at that time, where I noticed that it got softer and it got much, and then it started to come into the corners, but it just got a little bit softer. So if you're using a mount, I do recommend sweet spots are from f1. I would say sharpest f spots are between f2.8 and f9. Other than that, higher than that, you start to see a little bit diffraction kicking in into the image. It's not severe and it's not bad, but I seen worse. Worse. When I can tell you what lens is actually worse at diffraction. You know the Sony DT50 f1.8 lens? That lens is probably the worst I ever had in my arsenal. That had the worst diffraction at f9. Yes, f9. It was good at f8, good at f7.1, 6.3, 5.6, f4, f2, but past f8 it was just kicking in with that diffraction. Okay, missing the comments here. Sorry. Why am I so tired? Seems we got an experiment in the comments. Yep. I've been getting that a lot lately. Spamming emails, spamming YouTube comments, spamming everything. It's part of the logistics of being a YouTuber. You gotta deal with it and you gotta stroll with it. But anyways, if you guys just tuned in or watching this later on in the day, I'm the Panda Photographer from 646studios.com. I'm a travel photographer, the videographer, photographer in general, and I have social medias that you can follow down in the description below. And if you want to support the channel, I have a PayPal donation link down in the description below. Help me out. It's Christmas time, and I am not going to be doing anything for Christmas, but times are tough. But anyways, let's just continue to talk about this particular lens, and I will answer all your questions at the end of my discussion. And if you do have questions, I can address them as I talk about this lens. I really like the 20-35 f2 art lens. It's familiar to a full frame. Yes, it is actually a really good lens. I actually never toy with. Actually, it's the 24-35 which you're talking about, not the 20-35 f2, but they don't make it for a mount. They make it for Nikon, they make it for Canon, they do make it for like I said, you can buy MC11 adapter, adapt that onto the Sony E mount, but they don't make it for a mount. They don't even make it for Panasonic, which is weird, because this lens is the art lens. Some of the art lenses are Panasonic compatible, and which is fine, but they even have it for their own. Similar has their own cameras. So if you buy the S8 dock, which is fine, that's workable. But is this lens going to be something you want to invest in as a beginner and as a intermediate or as a professional? I would say yes. And if you are starting, as I said before, if you're starting out and you only have $8,000 to spend and you need to buy 2 lenses, why just buy 1 lens and get 6 lenses in one? It makes sense, right? So this is your best option. Yes, it's not going to have weather sealing, as I said. It's not going to have, but the build quality is phenomenal. Image quality is by far the best for the APS-C. This is designed for APS-C sensors for a reason. Okay, they designed this, and you're not going to find anything like this anymore on the market. This is by far like one of the greatest lenses I have ever purchased out of my entire photography career. And I have to say, all the Rokinons and Samyangs, the Zeiss A mount lenses that I had, the MCD, the MD mount adapters, or the Canon glass I had, nothing compares to this lens. Period. And the reason why I'm saying that is because even when I had a full frame, I had E mount, and I kept going back to the A mount to use this lens because I knew I can rely on this lens from the videography standpoint. Yes, I bought an adapter for it. You can buy a Sony adapter, A mount to E mount, and it will work fine. It still works. It's not a native lens, but if you buy a Sony the A mount to E mount adapter and adapted A mount lenses onto E mount, it will work as a native lens. It won't work as fast as the E mount lens, but it will work enough as a native lens. But I did mount it on it, and even when using the A7R and the A7R2 in Super 35 crop mode, I had no issues with it. I had no issues with it focusing. I had no issues with it focusing it out. It did have a tint of some focus breathing just a little bit, but I fixed that with this. This fixed it. This Sigma dock fixed everything that I need to do to fix the focus breather issue. Simple, done. And going to have to say, by far the best investment out of all my years. And I love the Samyang and I love the Rokinon lenses because I actually really started out with when I transferred over from Nikon to Sony A mount and said, let me just try Sony A mount once again, because I want to try that A77 Mark II. I heard good things about it. I heard it was a good wildlife shooter, and I had plans to go out and shoot wildlife. I had plans to go do video. I needed a camera that's going to shoot and good video quality, by the way. When they first announced the new codec for the Sony A77 Mark II, because the original A77 didn't have it, I was thrilled about it. I needed something that's going to have high burst, because the camera that I was using, A77 Mark II, had 12 frames per second burst. So shooting, capturing sports, doing wildlife photography, even setting the camera up in the modes like 1, 2, and 3, you can set it up in modes where you can absolutely say, hey, I want mode to be my portrait, I want 2 to be my night photography or my landscape, and I want 3 to be my video mode. So I did that on the camera. This lens did everything I wanted it to do, and I realized that after purchasing it, like, my Rokinons were fantastic. My 35 T1.5, my 14mm, my 85, my 100 micro lens was pretty good, and those are all Rokinon Samyang, and I really love Rokinon Samyang lenses. But once I got my hands on this lens, it was just, I stopped using the Rokinon and I stopped using the Samyang. I stopped using it and I was like, oh my god, this thing is like, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I did sleep with this lens for like a week. I had it like next to me, like, oh, it made me so happy. The image quality came from this lens made me so happy. For a crop sensor, it was by far. But keep in mind, when I'm shooting in crop sensor mode, I am actually filling the frame, and I'm not cropping in post whatsoever. I am filling the frame every single time. I am not cropping, because I feel like if I crop my images, I'm wasting those megapixels. I want every single one of those megapixels to count, especially if someone is to go online, search the internet, and sees a picture that I have taken, like, oh my god, I want to buy that picture, I want that on my wall, and they want me to print it and sell it to them. That's why I don't crop. That's why I fill the frame. I make sure when I'm taking someone's portrait and when I take someone's photograph, I always fill the frame. Now in full frame you can crop whatever you want, but if you have a 24 megapixel full frame sensor, I still fill the frame and don't crop for that full frame sensor. But if I have a full frame sensor that is 36 megapixels and higher, oh, I can crop. I have plenty of room to crop. I just feel like 24 megapixels is, to me, is that sweet spot where you want your cameras to be 6,000 by 6,000 by 400. You want your landscape photo to be on someone's wall at 6,000 by 4,000. Sorry, 6,000 by 4,000. I want every single inch of those megapixels, so when the client sees the image, they suspect it, and they're really satisfied about the quality that I give them. And I'm really anal like that, because I really want to like show people that like I can follow the rules of thumbs, I can follow the composition rules, but also break them. And that's the key about being a photographer and so forth. But would I say this is a prime lens for APS-C? Yes, just because it has all the focal lengths that you need and all the benefits that you can get out of the f1.8 lens. Transmission light apparently is really good. I'm talking bokeh from this lens is just ridiculously smooth. I have to say it's the best bokeh I have seen in an APS-C sensor in a long time, and still into this day. It's been almost 6 years. June of next year, 2018, will be its 6th year, and it'll be an anniversary for it. And will people still use it? Yes. Have people forgotten about this lens? No, because this is the one lens people were like, oh, you gotta buy it 18 to 35 hours. You have to buy it. It's just that good to not pass up. And I want to talk about weather conditions with this lens. I had this out in the snow. When I was in Portland, I was doing a documentary film in Portland. That was like 3 years ago. I was in a bad snowstorm in Portland. I took this out in that condition and nothing happened. Okay, not only that, I had it in light rain and nothing happened. But I made a little rain hood for it, contraption. And what I did was I took one of these, but a bigger size, and the zips. And what I did was I would tie it down with black rubber bands at the ends, and the other one I would zip and lock the stringy pole thingy that's in the little bag. So basically I took a large bag of this and cut the end and use a black sock first and put that black sock on top of that. Yes, it's going to mess with my ability to mess with the focal lengths, but if I'm going to be outside and I'm going to be shooting at a, say, most of the time when I'm doing street photography, I'm shooting either at 35 or 24. So I make sure that I have enough room to turn that to 24, and my camera would tell me if I'm shooting at 24 anyway. So that makes a big difference. But weather conditions, I had no problem with it in the rain or snow, but I don't really recommend taking it out in like really harsh environments. Now I'm going to tell you from my experience now with this lens, having this in my book bag 24/7 out in the cold. You guys know my situation. So when I wake up in the morning and I come to the library, I open my bag. This is pretty cold, but is there any condensation in the lens? No. It's pretty, doesn't have any weather sealing, but there's no condensation whatsoever. I look through the lens, I make sure I look through the rear of the lens optic, and no condensation whatsoever out of all the troubles I have dealt with this lens. Now, yes, this lens over time can get some condensation, but it's been 4 years and not a single condensation problem with this lens whatsoever. I would say without weather sealing, this is really, to me, this is quality built based on the way it's performs in the real world. And the real world to me is that as a real world user, and I'm gonna tell you this, anyone that's made a video about this lens in the last 6 months don't know how valuable this lens is. They talk a little bit down about the wrong things about the lens. So my point is that whoever made a video about this lens in the last 6 months don't really appreciate this lens as much. They keep comparing it to Sony lenses or other Canon lenses. No, you can't compare this because it's one of a kind. It's a unique lens. There's no lens like this in the world. Yeah, Sony has a 16 to 50 lens, but it's not for APS-C. It's that lens is for full frame or APS-C, but this one is for APS-C only. Can Sony make a lens for APS-C only with this aperture f1.8 and this good? No. Sorry, fanboys of Sony. I shoot Sonys too, but Sony can't do it. Sigma done it way before them. Sigma has gave what us photographers want in the APS-C sensors, and even today people are using APS-C more than I'm noticing. A lot of photographers are saying I stopped using full frame and going back to APS-C because APS-C is actually becoming much better in diameter range and ISO performance than full frame, most of these full frames that you see today. So like A6300, A6500, soon to be A6700, but I can't talk about Canon. Ooh, sorry guys, I'm in the public library, but I needed to emphasize. Okay, sorry for that interruption, but as I said before, guys, full frame, I stopped using full frame. I sold my full frames. Actually, I sold the A7R back in 2014. After like 3 months of using it, I didn't like the shutter cluckly sound. Then what I did next was I actually brought it again in 2015 because I miss the high frame rates. And this person is still okay. This person is still spamming. I make your scrambled eggs right here. I give you some scrambled eggs. Yeah, we got a spammer in here right now, and take care of that spammer. But as I'm saying before, guys, I stopped using full frame because I went back to APS-C. Even I tested out this A6300 with this lens with the MC11 adapter, and I was like blown away, literally blown away. And at the time, it's like my second year with this lens, second or third year with this lens, and I was like, second year going on my third year with this lens, I was like, oh my god, I'm glad that I kept it, because I thought about selling it. Then I was like, no way, I'm not going to sell this lens, because this is my number one. Has this been the top of the Christmas list? Wait. This has been on my top of my Christmas list. Okay, sorry, I was reading some other comments. Don't know why it took so long for me to find it. Hey Jason, I'm gonna tell you this, man. If you don't get this for Christmas, Santa's gonna speak you in the ass really hard and tell you and smack you across the face and said, why boy, what? Why you wanna buy that Xbox when you can buy this? Capture some moments with the best lens that you can buy. All the focal lengths without spending any more money for a while. Save your money up for the new camera that you want, because think about it, if you spend all this money on all these focal lengths, right, and you realize, wait, all that money I spent on those focal lengths, I could have just bought one lens, save that money up, and buy another camera and swap cameras from time to time. Think about that. Like, it costs us what? Literally, the A6300 now is what? Or any APS-C camera is what, under $1,500 now? you can actually really do some damage with that money. You can really do damage in a good way by being happy, being satisfied with what you really want to shoot with. Now, do the research on what camera you want to buy to match the quality of this. Now, this works for APS-Cs, so you don't have to worry about that. But I'm pretty sure with the Sony's using with the MC11 adapter, it has 5-axis stabilization. You don't need to worry about stabilization. For you Nikon shooters, on Canon shooters, you might have to worry about that compensation. For me, I have a steady shot, but I use steady shot off my A77 Mark II, and honestly, I have steady hands. I have small hands, but how I shoot is, when I have a camera, if I don't have my tripod, I shoot like this. This is my arm, is my tripod, shoulder, shoot. I'm shooting, I'm shooting, I'm shooting, I'm shooting, I'm shooting, I'm shooting, boom. Then I have techniques that I use and use myself as a tripod. You can sit on the floor, hold your arms out, capture, make sure you get some good posture. If you don't have stabilization in your camera, if you buy this lens, make sure you study the art of how to be a tripod. That's pretty much it. You have to study the art on how to be a tripod, and that's very important. I got the D500. Just need some good glass. Right here. Yeah, good glass right here. Kai, that Chinese European sexy little monkey, had this on the D500 and said good things about it. Image quality was sharp, it was good, it was brilliant, it was fast, the autofocus was fast. There was a little bit of focus breathing, but as I said, buy one of these Sigma docks for your mount. Okay, they do have it for the Canon, Nikon, Sony, Sigma does make their own cameras too. Buy this and fix the focus and breathing issues, and you'll be set. You're gonna see how the focus is quicker and faster at 35, 28, 24, 2018. Now, if you guys go to my channel or go to my website at 646studios.com and look at my cities, gaming landscapes, most of that is from this lens. Most of it is from this lens. All my natures, or a few of my portraits, are from this from this lens. I even have a portrait of myself at f1.8. I think it was a shot at 24 or 18. I think it was 18 at 1.8. I fixed my distortion on my face, and I shot this at 1.8, and it was sharp. It was sharp. That's because I fixed the focus breathing issues with this lens. So, have you ever used it with a converter? Actually, I rented the A mount to E mount adapter for Sony. Now that's a converter, in my opinion. It's an adapter, but it's also a converter, because you convert in one mount to another. It's a converter. Yes, I have, and I have to say it, on the E mount, it worked pretty well with A6300. I was pretty satisfied with the autofocus ability. I can't talk about MC11 adapters, but I do have to say this, as I'm watching so many people with using the Canon version of this with the MC11 adapter to the E mount, what they don't talk about is if they calibrated the lens with using this, because they always complain about how it's a tad slow and there's some focus breathing. That's because they're so eager to push out a video without giving a full in-depth review on the product. They don't use the capabilities. Sigma says if you have any focus breathing issues, it doesn't seem focused, and you miss it just by a hair, buy this. They say buy this Sigma dock. It addresses that issue. I'm pretty sure, I'm telling you now, I've been using this all the time. It fixes that issue every single time. And I'm pretty sure if I was to use a Canon version of this lens, 18 to 35, and I was to go out and use the MC11 on a 6500, And that same person that made that video said there's a slightly focus bleeding issue. It kind of hunts a little bit, but it snaps back to place. I'm pretty sure that person didn't actually calibrate the lens or fix the focus bleeding issue within the lens, because keep in mind, it wasn't designed for the E mount. It was designed for the Canon, and that's where they are having difficulties are, and that's how they have to understand is that, wait, you bought a Canon version with the MC11W and you expect it to work as fast as a native lens? You really had your highest expectations up really high and never thought about that. Come on, it's not a native lens, so you are going to run into some problems with focusing. But if you want the focus to be really tap sharp, you say it's just a sharp, it's tab off, and the focus department, $60, extra $60. It's not gonna hurt. Simple. Oh yeah, and by the way, the lens hood it comes with, it might be industry plastic. It's high quality industry plastic, and it has these nice ridges and grooves. But check this out. I want you guys to hear this. It snaps in. Let me let you guys hear it again. Snaps off. Hear it? Snaps in. Snaps off. Snaps in. And doesn't come off whatsoever. Now, I did have issues with the lens cap, and I want to show you what lens cap I'm using. Okay? I am using the Breakthrough lens cap. I'm not using the Sigma cap. I feel like the Sigma lens cap was a little bit, it came short, and I'm gonna tell you why it came short. And the reason why it came short is because I feel like the teeth at the edges when it grips wasn't really built well. Now on the layer on top would look just as good, okay, but the teeth, it kept coming off. And you know why it kept coming off? Because when I had my camera on the side of my body and I would walk, when I hit it, it would come off. But with this one, it wouldn't come off because it's just, you have to push it in to order to come off. It literally needs some force to come off. So I purchased the Breakthrough lens cap, and I did have the polarizers, and I just bought a Helios ND filter and polarizer. I do have a Helios polarizer, which cost me $300. I know you guys are probably saying, what? But it works exceptionally well. I don't have no loss in sharpness, no loss in contrast. There is a slight colored tint, slight, but I can fix that in post. So, and I did all my time lapses with it. I even use it when I'm doing night photography. If there's too much light, I will use the polarizer just a little bit to. But yeah, and right now I do have a lens protector. I have a UV filter on top of it to protect the lens. So I do recommend buying a UV filter, because keep in mind, UV filters don't do shit today with the cameras, with the lenses that are being made today, and the cameras that, I mean lenses. The lenses that are being made today are becoming much better when the coating and the fluoride and the glass, it doesn't do anything, right? It does fix some of the flare issues just a little bit, but I use it to protect the front element. So if I were you, go out, buy a UV filter, put it on your lens, make sure that when you put it on, it stays clean. And look, I never take it off, it's always on there, it stays clean all the time. All you have to do is clean the front element. And how I clean the filter is I blow first, and I don't use regular water. I use 100% grade A stilt water, and I'm carrying a little bottle. I'm gonna show you this little bottle right here. If I can get it, little spray bottle. So And you guys are probably wondering, why are you carrying water with spray bottle in it? Oh, because I do micro photography sometimes, and I like to spray water on certain flowers to give it a little bit more character, to more a little pop, give it a little bit more like creativity in the photographs. But that is that. But I do have to talk about the rear of it. The contacts are really well designed, and you can see the aperture blades. I'm not sure if you can see the aperture blades, but I love looking at those aperture blades. It looks sexy. Now you cannot control the aperture with this lens, and I've seen a few videos recently, and the person said aperture. There's no aperture on this lens. There's no aperture focus on this, or follow focus on this lens. Now, you hear that? That is the motor I'm working against. So like I said, guys, had this lens for a long time. Focus throw is pretty accurate. Not as accurate it should be, but when it's pretty smooth at first, when you first get it, it's going to be a little bit tough. It's going to be like a little bit stiff, but once you loosen it up, it's going to be a fantastic lens. Now, you hear that? Now, I am going to talk about the warranty papers that you get with it. So, if you did buy this lens, or if you're going to buy this lens, you know that little warranty paper that comes in the box with your lens, and it tells you to fill it out, and it tells you to fill out with the serial number, everything. You should do that. I'm going to tell you why. So, if you do that and you register your product with Sigma online and you mail that into them, right? Make a copy of it, send them the copy, register online with them, make sure you get everything done. So if anything, this guy is back. He keeps spamming. Anyways, as I was saying, register the lens. I'm gonna tell you why. If anything goes wrong with it, because this has, I think it's supposed to have 3-year warranty on it. If anything goes wrong with it, Sigma will fix it with no problem. Nope, you don't have to go all the way back to Japan. They actually have a facility here in the US where they can fix it for you. Just like Rokinon has a facility in New York City where they can fix the lens for you. But the wait time for the Rokinon is, I think is, for me, it happened within like 10 to 14 days. I can't remember the spot up, but I had issues with my 35T 1.5 cinema lens. But with this, they let you know the process. So the best way to ship this is with priority mail. Ship it right away, get confirmation that they have it. You would get updates when they fix the lens for you, and then within the next 72 hours the lens should be done, be ready to ship back out to you. You should have it within the next 7 to 9 days. So it's a really good warranty system. I used it one time, and that's because it started to do this again. You hear it? That's the focus throw. I mean, not focus throw. Yeah, it's starting to do that again. It's because it's been outside a lot. It's been doing its paces. I used it a lot. Okay, I used the lens a lot. Now it does come in this bag with these padded pouches. I'm gonna take the bottom out. You can see like the indentation of the groove here. So it fits in every single time, and the pad for the top of the element. Now, I do not recommend reversing it, because if you set this down on the table, I wouldn't recommend it unless you have a UV filter protecting the element of your lens. But when I put it in the bag. Oops. and I keep the single mat. It's a really good option. Now, as I said, guys, you can go to my website at 646studios.com. All the links are down in the description below. I got a PayPal donation link down there as well. Help me out. It's Christmas. Help a homeless photographer out. But with that said, guys, I do recommend buying this lens. To me, this is a prime lens. This is a prime lens that you really want to purchase, that you really want to get your hands on and have the experience to, you know, try for yourself. Rent it if you want it. Borrow lenses, have the lens for rent. You can borrow the lens, rent it, see how well it performs for you, and if you like it, you can then buy it after. You have options now. But if you have an APS-C body, or if you have a Sony in that case, if you have a Sony E-mount in that case, and you've seen Jason Vong, or you've seen all these other YouTuber photographers and videographers, these fusion photographers out there telling you that they have issues with it, focusing, it's not as perfect, but they're just trying to sell you that Sony shit. Okay, try to buy something that works for you. Okay, you can listen to their advice, but sometimes it's not as valid, because let me be honest, I'm not trying to play Jason Vaughn. I like his content, I like what he do, but he made a video on the 1835 and I was like, no, you didn't calibrate it. You didn't calibrate it. Why are you comparing it to a native lens? You didn't calibrate it. How about you calibrate it, then compare it to the native lens and see if it focus better? Because he kept complaining about the focus, breathing, little issues here and there. It kept hunting. I guarantee it, if you would have brought this Sigma dock for his Canon version and then put it on the MC11 adapter to fix that issue, guaranteed you would not have a problem. Guarantee it. Because I know a videographer in New York right now, we used to rollerblade. He uses the Sony cameras with the Sigma 18 with the Canon version with the MC11 adapter, and when I told him to buy this, he brought this, he fixed it. He says this made a big difference for him, even though it may cost $60, but that little difference made a big impact on his videography and his photography. Made a big difference. So that's why I recommended the lens for anyone, especially for the beginner that doesn't have a lot of money to spend. I'm definitely recommended it to any beginner, an intermediate, or professional. You don't want to spend $1,500 on some so-called prime lens for your APS-C that can work for your full frame. And here's the disadvantage of that: you might buy a lens that might not work for your full frame. But as I said in the beginning of this video, I used this for the A7R and A7R2 at 35mm. Was fine. It's fine. 28. You see the Venenin coming in, worked, but don't do it at 24. So you have an option there. You can shoot it at 35, you can shoot it at 30, and you can get away with 28. But anything past 28 on a full frame, no go. I even have a video about that when I was living in New York City before the fire to my studio, before I was robbed, and then fire. And I was hanging with my Japanese friends. We couldn't see our families for Christmas, so we spent a Christmas at a Japanese restaurant. The owner and I and Tech, we got together. We wanted to have a special day for us, so we didn't do like a birthday cake. We just had food and drinks and invited people in the neighborhood, and it was in Brooklyn. So like, it was, that day was special. I used it on a A7R with the 1835. I have it in my channel. You go check that out. I think it's Sigma 1835 on a full frame. That's the video. So look for that thumbnail. And does it work? And you see me show you pictures as I go along. It's not the best quality, and I did that all in one night. The editing, the video, all that in one night, and I was surprised by the performance it gave me on a full frame. In video mode, I had no problems with it. As I said, Super 35, it shot well, and it was a decent piece of glass for a full frame. At shooting at 35, no problem. I got the full 36 megapixels from this lens. I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this lens more at 35 on the A7R. No guaranteed. I started using it more and more often, and then I was like, okay, I'm sorry, A7. I was apologizing to my crop sensor camera like it was talking to me. I was literally having a one-on-one conversation with it. Like, I'm sorry, but A7R has told me that I need to use it for 35 focal length for today, so I'm gonna use it for today, and I will go out and I will shoot. I even did the Brooklyn hook, which is my brothers, not my actual brothers, but these are my brothers. These are guys are from Tokyo. I'm from Osaka. They're from Tokyo. Okay, I did the anniversary party. Well, we did an anniversary party in collaboration with this famous barbershop in New York City called Frank's Chop Shop. It was a 10-year anniversary, and I did a photo shoot and an event shoot at the same place with rap stars that you probably have heard of. Swift and Reston, Craig Nice, the Professor, Dax Stocks, all these old school hip hop rap stars that are still making waves into music today. All in it, taking photos. That's actually in my portfolio on my website, and we had a good time. It was like a packed house from the 3rd floor, 2nd floor, in the basement, full packed house, crazy, awesome party. And I was using the Sigma 18 and 35 on the A7R, and what I was doing is swapping in and out on the crop sensor, on the full frame, swapping, because I really wanted to fully use the Sigma 1835 on the 36.4 megapixel sensor on the camera and get the best images from that, and then give it to my buddy Umont to give it to Frank, the owner of the Frank Chop Shop. And it's a famous barbershop that does all like the rap stars and photographers haircuts, and they talking about doing it again this year, but not sure if I can join them on that, because that was a good payday. That was a good payday. I'm talking about good payday, really good payday. So, and you know what? They were cool. It was nice, and like they asked us to hang out afterwards with them and everything. But I couldn't, because I really want to get these photos out and get them edited. I'm too focused on the photography standpoint. I'm not really a party animal like I used to when I was in my 20s. I'm 37 now. Okay, I live my life. I had good times, but I rather like focus on the objective, and my objective is to bring you guys some content. Even though my situation now is terrible, being houseless and still doing this is like pushing me to never give up on my dreams, never give up on what I'm trying to do. I got a couple of photographers that are supporting me, a couple of videographers that support me and tell me keep my head up. And sometimes I get kind of concerned about where I am right now and what happens to me. Sometimes it bothers me, but what makes me happy is if I can go out and shoot all the time with this lens and like, or video, I'm good. Or use my phone to do some Lux video to show you guys how I edit and use Lux, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't care. Like, I got tons of footage from Chicago. I got tons of footage from Madison. I got tons of footage from New York. I got all this footage from Japan. Oh my god, all these tons of footage shot with this and the iPhone. All this footage that I never touched, and now I'm getting to it. I got like all these SSDs. I recommend SSDs over hard drives when I'm storing data and accessing data, because hard drives can tend to be slow, especially writing and reading. I like the SSDs because they give me the flexibility to really get my work done. And I have a laptop. Okay, so my original laptop is the same model as this laptop I have now. But this laptop here was purchased through a Chinese guy that actually had the exact same keyboard, but he had a dual core. My other laptop, when I came to San Jose, was stolen. Oh, not just that stolen. Passport was stolen. All my stuff was stolen when I got here. There was probably like my 30th or 35th day here in San Jose, looking for a tech job, and I was told by an employer at Adobe that I was overqualified. But anyway, I digress on that one. Weird. I was sleeping outside. I have to, and somebody took my bag and all my shit, and I lost a lot of stuff. Like, literally lost a lot of stuff. And lucky for me, I had everything backed up. Now, for me, that the backing part, I'm not concerned about backing up all the photos, because I know I have backups everywhere, even on a Dropbox, on a cloud, or a separate SSD, which all my photos are on a separate SSD. When I put it in my other bag, I put all my other stuff in the Pelican case, locked down. But when I go out and I shoot with the single 1835, my experience is like I get creative with the lens. I start thinking about, oh, what if I can shoot that down this way, get the shot, give a different perspective on like say like a 24 mil look at a focal length of 24. I kind of want to do something unique with the lens, because this lens is, I always want to play with this lens by far. I just have to play with this lens constantly. I know there's nothing will change with this lens, nothing is going to wow you, but I noticed when using different crop sensors today, from back in the day, from 2013 or 2012 to now, crop sensor APS-Cs have changed. ISO performance is getting better, diamond range is getting better, video quality is getting better. This lens brings it out and makes it shine, brings it out. It's like if you want to go and get the best video quality, but as I said, you don't have a lot of money and you have only $900 to spend on one good lens, and you're going to be shooting in crop mode, and you have an APS-C sensor anyway, just buy this lens. It will save you so much money, so you don't have to think about the next lens, and you're going to be shooting with the same lens. But say if you do want another lens, you want a 50, that's a different story. 50 gives you a different perspective, but as I said, this is designed for APS-C. That makes it the big difference. It's design. You won't get any color shift. You won't get any color shifting. You won't get any vignetting on the corners. You won't get any distortion. Other than like at 18, you get a little bit of that distortion. That's natural with a wide-angle lens, zoom wide angle. This is a ultra wide-angle zoom lens. That's what it is. So you're gonna have that type of experience. You're gonna have these type of other photographers that says, "Oh, well, you just waste your money on this lens." Did I? Did I? How much you pay for that lens? How much you pay for that lens? How much you pay for that? How much you pay for that 24? How much you pay for that 30? How much you pay for that 50? How much you pay for that 30? I spend a lot. They spend a lot of money on it, but you can tell them, oh, but I only spent $800 and I got all those focal lengths. Go eat the bag. This is when you should be proud of yourself and tell a person in your head. I won't say this out loud, but you're just like, now go eat a bag of dicks. Be proud. Like, you're not trying to disrespect you. You're just trying to prove a point that, like, listen, I bought this for my use because I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of options, and I only have APS-C. This is designed for APS-C. And a lot of photographers might not feed you that information because they just want to sell you. Hit the affiliated buttons down in the descriptions below. I stopped doing that because I feel like I'm selling myself to a corporate organization or a company and not giving you real world statistics. And I decided if a company is going to send me something, they have to send me on my own discretion, meaning like I do what the hell I want to do with it, and how I review the product, you have no say so. Simple. But you know how many emails I get with people say, "Oh, I view our 4K action camera. What's in it for me? Oh, dude, put this in, say only good things." No, sorry, done. Goodbye. No. Oh, if you buy, we will PayPal you. That is a scam, by the way. If you get any email saying that they want you to review any lenses or any products, and they say buy with a PayPal and let us know what PayPal you use, it's all a scam. They would never refund you. They would never refund you. If they don't like the review, they would never refund you. So don't do reviews or offer to do reviews in that way. That's a bad business practice. Even if it's from China, they should never tell you to, hey, pay for the product, then after you do your review, we will PayPal you. But it has to be a good review. You see it has to be a positive review. No, that's a scam. Trust me, did it, done with it. But as I said, buy the same one dock, buy the same one for Christmas. It's Christmas time. You should treat yourself to a little bit of something. But as I said, do you guys have any questions about the Cinema 1835? I want to hear your thoughts, because to me, best all-around camera for APS-C. If you shoot with the 80D, this is a question why I also made this video. A while back, I had someone literally call me on the phone. Said, "Are you Kiki?" "Yes, I am. Bonjour. How can I help you?" He goes, "Hey man, I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer. I have not seen one video of anyone using a Canon 80D with the Cinema 1835. I Googled it myself, and I've seen clips, but people don't talk. Short clips, like 1 minute and like 20-30 seconds. But if you have an 80D and you want to get the Cinema 1835, keep in mind it is going to be a front heavy, because it's weighty, but image quality is going to be crazy good no matter what. That 18 wide view is going to be enough. Even if you shoot at 24, it's going to be enough. If you're using a nice gorilla tripod, nice microphone audio system, it's going to be good for your vlogging. It's going to be good, but it's going to be front heavy. Keep that in mind. You may want to consider that if you can hold on to that weight. But for me, no problem whatsoever. I got used to holding the lens, and I wanted to address this to you Canon users. If you are using Canon, and if you are, please, okay, out here to say he never looked into this lens and was very impressed. The only thing I didn't like too much is the onion ring in the bokeh. Now, I'm not sure if you have onion rings in your bokeh, but oh man, I'm shooting on this camera right here, but I don't have that issue really in my let me check that out. I don't think I have any issues with bokeh. Wait. There's one photo I just took recently. Where is it? Okay, bokeh. Onion shape. He said onion shape. Okay. Wait. There it is. So this is a street in Portland, Oregon called Cooch Street. And if I'm looking at this correctly, I got perfect circles, but I do got some little bit of some little artifact in the bokeh. Like I said, you gotta be pixel peeping in order to see this. So it's perfectly round in shape, but not really onion. I get cat eyes sometimes when I'm shooting at f2.0 or 2.2 or 2.8. Yeah, I get cat eyes, but I don't really have issues with it, other than, you know, little of maybe some noise in the bokeh. Actually, I'm gonna show you guys what I'm looking at here. See, I'm looking at the bokeh. Sorry for my screen. My screen is broken. But you can see, like, to me, bokeh is bokeh. And yes, bokeh matters to a lot of people, but if you know how to fix it in post, you can if you know how to fix it in post, you can clean it up, you can fix it, then yeah, it can be a killer lens. Like this one shows you none of that artifacting in the bokeh. I got pretty damn good bokeh here, and this one here gives me perfect bokeh. So I can understand what you're saying. Put this after show. Put this after Flickr.com. Yeah, I'm pixel peeping. No rings in the bokeh. Yeah, I just feel like the bokeh to me is fine. I'm not really worried about any really like artifact in the bokeh or any noise in the bokeh, because I always can fix it. It's called cloning. But like most of the time when I'm shooting in f1.8, I never have problems with bokeh. So some people may have issues with the bokeh, but as I was saying about this laptop, I purchased the laptop from this Chinese guy kid, and he realized I was from Japan, and I said, "Oh, you got the perfect laptop, and I don't need it." The only difference was this laptop has 2 cores, so my other laptop had 4 cores. The only reason this one is called a U24, and I do all my processing with this laptop, all my 4K video with this laptop. This laptop is pretty old. This laptop is like at least 3 years old now. Yeah, at least three years old now, and I'm still doing 4K and all my editing with this photos. I just gotta get my screen fixed. It's $80 to get my screen fixed, so I don't have $80 to spend right now, because shit is real right now. Life is real, and this is the thing. Photography can be a risk taker. Spending all that money on lenses and cameras, and you get no investment out of it, but you get an education out of it. That's the most important value about photography: the education to teach yourself or go to school or learn it. For myself, I'm a self-taught, but that should only matter, the education part about the photography aspect. Now for me, I was doing so well until I moved to New York, and from there on, just got terrible bad luck meeting the wrong clients. And just recently, if you didn't saw that live video I made the other day, and I actually had to take it down for legal purposes, the client, the hip-hop client, wanted his photo to look like a photo I have taken of one of my models. I said, she's Caucasian American white, you're black, and that's a natural light, and I'm shooting you with speed lights and high speed sync. Totally different environment. Oh, but I want my photo to look so crispy. You want your photo to look crispy? Okay, whatever. And he refused to take the photo that I etched for him, and I showed him another photo. I said, here, this is what you want. You want crispy, right? I'm telling you, there's loss of contrast. Any photographer will want to. Yeah, see, I don't think it's too bad either. I don't think it's too bad. No, because it can be fixed in post. I'm seriously, it can be fixed in post. Okay, where's the comments? And as I'm saying, it can be fixed in post. No, it's minor. For a wide angle lens, it's pretty decent bokeh. Yeah, it is decent bokeh. So when people talk about the bokeh, why should that matter? Really, I want to know why bokeh should matter. Because even f1.4 lenses bokeh are not as perfect as a f1.8 or a 2 point or a 1.2 or a 0.95 lens that has a insane amount of bokeh. But even those types of lenses would have some type of weird shape like bokeh. So bokeh to me is based on creativity, in my opinion, and if you know how to use that bokeh to your advantage, you are in this game. You have nothing to worry about. You don't have nothing to worry about when it comes down to, and you should be, this is the point, you should be happy with your photography no matter what or who criticizes anything. Now, I made the video about retouching someone else's photo. It is different from critiquing someone's photo. Critiquing is when someone edit the photo but shows you the photo, then you talk about the photo negatively. You should be like, okay, it's not negatively, but some people do it in a bad way where they get conceited of themselves and say that you need to really work on your, no, it's that listen, give him a B for effort. Don't stop giving him a D for being you should get a D for being a dick. And that's how I see photographers that want to critique other people's photos, because they want to just criticize because they want to feel so big inside. And some photographers that do critique only want to educate you. That's a difference. But like Jared Poling, when he critiques people's photos, I'm like, dude, shut your mouth, man. You don't know what you're talking about now. You used to be good, but now you just got all tight pants, not even muscular. That's just a small baby shirt trying to look muscular. Dude, the guy's cool sometimes, but damn, he could be a dick. But like I said here, it's based on personal taste. So it's subjective. Yeah, it is subjective. It can be based on taste, but I just don't like critiquing. I like retouching someone's photo. If someone says, "Hey, I don't want to edit this photo, but can you edit this photo for me?" and I credit you, I'm like, sure, why not? That is what a retoucher does. So a retoucher and a critiquer are two different categories. I'm a retoucher. I don't critique. You don't see me asking any of you for any photographs of any sort to critique. I said, hey, send me your raw files and I will edit them for you, and you can take all the damn credit all you want. I just want to play and edit photos. That's all I want to do. I want to have fun, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to live it. I'm going to represent who you are, your YouTube channel, your website. I am retouching this photo for this photographer. He asked me to request on edit his photography. He want to see what kind of magic I can do with his photos, so he's giving me the opportunity with those raw files like Photo E-Ike. He allowed everyone to have access to some of the raw files, and I went to town on those photos, and everyone's like, wow, those will look good. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you can like really dodge a burn like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I can dodge a burn. Dodge a burn is my game. I like it. Yeah, Jared Paul in his tight baby t-shirts, trying to look all muscular. It's not muscle he's showing. It's just fat, literally. I'm sorry, Paul. I'm calling you out. I don't want to start a war. I just feel like when you critique someone's photos, you give them effort every single time. Don't give them shit. Give them bead for the effort they put into their work. Stop giving people this lowdown when you don't even shoot most of the time anymore. You only shoot when a camera comes out or a big lens comes out, and when you shoot, you only shoot on your own perspective. You don't give people credibility for the work they do or the work they present. And this is why I made a video of Tony Northup versus Jared Poland. I favorite Tony because Tony is more on the technical side and the aspect as a photographer side of things. They go out and shoot all the time. Jared Poland doesn't shoot all the time. His videos are staged inside his studio. Alright? They go out. Tony and Chelsea goes out all the time and shoot all the time. Even with Justin, the video guy, They go out and shoot all the time. That is what, and that's who I will follow. And as I said, guys, when Tony reviewed this lens back in what, 2013, 14? Yeah, 2013, 14. He compared it with some prime lenses, and the 18-35 blew this out the water. That's all I have to say. But like chapter, oh, now that pops up. That's odd. But Jason, thanks for subscribing, man. I appreciate you subscribing. I have to subscribe back right now. So what I do is, and most people should be doing this, if they host, there you go, subscribed. If someone is doing a live video and new people come into the channel, all you have to do is click that, chat box, right click on the person's tab there. It says go to channel, report, remove, put user in timeout, block, or add as a moderator. It's that simple. And like, I just go to the person's channel and subscribe. I don't care who it is. If you're watching, I'm gonna subscribe. But if you're going to come into my channel and you're gonna come in here to be a dick, I'm gonna have to boot you up from my channel and block you. And I have blocked 2 people so far from this because they were basically being a pain in the ass. Not from me, from also, well, I blocked him from me, but he's also being asked to David Oster and other photographers. He would jump into live streams and do this on purpose with photographers. But I do want to recommend one other lens other than the 18-35 for crop sensor. I did have this in the past, and this may be subjective, but if you want to go wider than 18, I would suggest looking at the Rokinon or Samyang 14 ultra wide lens. Yes, the chroma might be a little bit, there might be a little bit of chroma, but you can fix that in post. But man, it's phenomenal. But what I didn't talk about with the 18-35 is astrophotography. If you're an astrophotographer, 2.8 with this lens all day, every day. By far, sweet at 18 mil. At 1.8, I do have to say that's when chroma starts to kick in a little bit. I start to see some chroma within the stars. It can be fixed in post, but it will take you a little bit longer to post and edit. So if you're looking for looking for the lens to do astrophotography, be my guest. I do light painting. This lens is good for light painting. So if you are a light painter photographer looking for a lens, this is also a good lens for light painting. Some of you guys are like, light painting? What's light painting? You take a stick of light, or you can buy a stick of lights or a stick of glow lights or modeling lights. They sell them as photography gear, and some of them have RGB colors, so you can change the color on them, and you can make shapes or designs around a person or a subject or wherever you are. You can make cool designs. That's light painting. I do that a lot, and it's also good for that. It's also good for, it's not good for sports photography, but it can be good if you are, say, front row seat on a #1 chairs. I don't go to basketball games or football games in America. I just don't. I go to a soccer game. Now that's different. Oh yeah, and I'm not bringing the 13-35. I'm gonna rent me a 150 to 600 telephoto. Oh yeah, bring the big dogs out. I rent that one. See, that I would rent for any game of soccer. And most people here like, oh, you're a kickball man. I'm a kickball man. That's what Americans say, kickball man. I'm like, I'm not a kickball man. That's a real sport. That's a English sport. Football to me is a great sport, but man, sometimes I don't like how football players get hit. The way they get hit, it's just like, that's really violent. It's really aggressive. I want to go wider on my full frame. What's thinking about a... Yes, thank you for bringing that up. The tricks is and the Laowa 12 0D. Now I'm hearing good things about it. It's not really zero distortion, to be honest. It's not really zero distortion. There is slightly some distortion, but it's not 0D distortion. But if you have a full frame and you are looking for, I would say go for the Laowa or the Trek. Both of them are really good. Oh my god, both of these lenses, the Trek 11 f4 or the Laowa, I would say go with the Laowa 12 0D. Go with the Laowa 0D and the 14. The 14 is pretty good too. Oh, Jason's a football and soccer person. Well, that's kudos. I just don't like... Okay, don't get me wrong. I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison as an undergrad, as a college education neuroscience graduate, undergrad. But when I used to go to the Badger games, I would be like, ooh, just like jumping out my seat every time someone gets hit really hard. But I know there's different things about college football to NFL. College football is much more funner than the pro league. I don't care. It's much more fun. I go to these tailgating parties. I go hang out at these other house parties. It's so much fun. Oh my god, I miss being in school so much. I don't care about the work. It's like, but I would say, yeah, I don't know, the Laowa 14, Laowa D is good. 14, well, the Laowa 12 is a little bit, you pushing it really hard on that 14 though. I mean the 12. I mean the tricks. Wait, I mean the tricks 11 mil. Let's Google that one. That's a F4 though. See, I would definitely go. Ah man, no. I would definitely look at the. I would definitely look at the 15 f2.4. Oh well, you said 14 is not enough. Sorry about that. 14 is not enough. Go with the Laowa 12 then. Zero distortion. I heard good things about it. To me, this okay. The Samyang 14 ultra wide. Okay, I used the UMC version of that lens. That's a manual focus lens. I didn't use the automatic focus. I used it for the A mount. But I would have to say, for the crop sensor, it was pretty damn satisfying. Shooting cityscapes and astrophotography and was just like, it was great. And then I got the 12 because I wanted that focal length to be as 14 as much as possible, and man, it made a big difference. Big difference on how I see buildings. Now, if you want to get a building, you want to sell it, that's fine, that's great. But the Samyang 14 mil was just like a good lens for under $300, 300 US dollars. It was really that good. This is when Rokinon and Samyang just came out a few years, like 2-3 years ago, and they were pushing all these manual UMC lenses out, and people were saying, "Are they that good? Are this that good?" Yeah, they can play hardball in a lot of ways, and they are really good lenses, and they do push the significant thought in your back of your head and say, wait, if I buy this lens now and do all my photography and be good at what I do in editing and post-processing, people will be, what do you shoot this with? Samyang? Really? Is the Samyang? And I got that a lot. Is the Samyang really that good? Yeah, was really good. It was pretty damn lens. I missed that lens though. It got stolen in New York at my studio, but it was a very good lens. I would buy it again if I had $300 right now. I'd buy it right now, but I'd buy it right now and would have it by tomorrow because I have Prime on Amazon. So that's how passionate for the A mount. Yeah, I would definitely buy it right now. If I had $300, I'd buy it again just to get that extra wide focal length and get things in view. Like now, this micro lens for my iPhone is actually the equivalent to a 18. So it takes the wide angle lens of the iPhone 2.2 app, makes it into a 18 or 16, I believe. But with that said, guys, I'm not sure how much battery life